Glover. I was trained as an RPN at the General. I worked there for 18 years. We were a very happy group to look after our patients. And I don't believe that the hospital is dilapidated.
It's not.
Well, no, it isn't. That is a very bad suggestion to make. And I think they can make it into long-term beds. They might even have some small apartments upstairs on the top floor for people, for couples, if that's possible. They can leave the clinics at the bottom on the main floor, and the rest can be long-term care patients. And I think when they built the Glenstone Lodge, I don't know, the brains were not working properly. Because if they looked around in Cornwall, it's mostly older people. The young ones go away to find their jobs. And we are left here. Should we not have places to go to when we need to? Because even when you want to stay at home, they say you can get home care. But that is quite a struggle at times.
It's being cut.
Pardon?
Home care is being cut.
Yes. Because my daughter was looking after a lady for 12 years, she had MS, and finished she had cancer. She looked after her, and she had to fight to get some time off for herself to have somebody come in. So there's something wrong. And besides that, I think the hospital board members should be here at this meeting because we are entitled to know what's going on behind the closed doors. So, I don't know how we have to get together and we have to have have you asked the board to come and do the meeting today?
I put a public notice in the paper. The only person that I invited, because it says on their website, if you have questions about the sale of the hospital, to contact RE/MAX. And I contacted them directly and invited them to the meeting.
No, never mind about RE/MAX. At the hospital board, every member...
Everybody in the public was invited. I didn't phone anybody personally. Everybody knew about it. The hospital board knew about it because they were commenting on it in the paper.
Now you have to really get behind them, get the whip for the horses and get him in here.
Yeah, my name is Ed Halliwell. I was the facilities manager of the 2nd Street site for 25 years. There's been a number of comments made, but I'd like to go back in history just a little bit. I don't believe, Mark, you were a councillor at the time. I don't believe that Andre was a councillor at the time. But when the decision was made to operate one hospital, City Council sent representatives with the Hotel Du board and management to the Minister of Health in Toronto. And the decision was made at that point in time to have a single-site hospital. The decision to sell one of the sites was made at that time, and it was the 2nd Street site that was deemed to be closed. So City Council had a hand in the decision to have a single site. Not pointing fingers at anybody, it's just a comment. So the decision was made at that time. I left the General at that time and went to Toronto and redeveloped the downtown Toronto Hospital. And I can tell you what it will cost to redevelop the General into either long-term care or a multiple use. And you're looking at between $300 and $400 per square foot to rebuild. The problem is that the minute you change the use of a building, you have to get, of course, building permits, and the building then has to be brought up to the current codes for the use that you want to use it for. So if it's long-term care, then you have to bring that building up to long-term care standards. Now, one of the things, there was a comment made about asbestos. There is asbestos, yes, in the clinic building. The clinic building, I believe, has been closed.
It has been taken
No,
out.
The clinic building, the old clinic building is closed. And the reason it's closed is that they had a flood and the asbestos covering on the piping was damaged. And rather than repair it, they just closed the building down. There is a tiny bit of asbestos left on the second floor in the ceiling of what was the intensive care unit. It's sealed, but if the building gets changed or if they have to do a major renovation in that area, then yes, they would have to take that asbestos out. The remaining asbestos throughout the building was removed in 1989, 1989-90 when they did the rehab. The building is, there's some errors on that handout that you have. The buildings combined are 214,000 square feet. The hospital building itself at 510 is about 175 or 180,000 square feet. The operating costs of the building are about $1 million a year, and that's for natural gas and hydro. Now, if the building uses are changed, the air conditioning, ventilation rates can be changed, and that can probably be lowered. But the other big issue will be property taxes. As an acute care hospital, the hospital pays the city a tax based on the number of beds in operation. The minute the building is no longer deemed an acute care facility, then the tax that's levied against the board then will be at whatever the tax rate is. And that would be considerably higher than the taxes that the hospital currently pays on the property. City council, the members would know what that rate is. I think at one time it was around $500 per bed per year. Can't remember where else I was going, Mark. $300 to $400 per square foot to renovate, and you wouldn't have to renovate the whole building if you decided that you wanted to renovate 80,000 square feet to be a long-term care facility. Those are probably numbers that are worthwhile to think about. The third floor, I was partially involved in that assess rehab unit. I think that was around the 800, it was under the $1 million, around $800,000 to renovate and open that. And that was done by the hospital, knowing that it was going to be a short-term fix. That was never meant to be a permanent operation. It was always planned that it was short-term. It was to get them out of a bed crunch until they got the other building, the McConnell site, finished. Now, the bigger question in all of this is, do they really have enough room at the McConnell site to take over all of the services that are currently left at the general site?
No.
And I don't believe there is. I know that there are still problems and they're still looking for areas or place to house some of those services.
You just did the dialysis, that was your last big project.
That was why.